talk to the former Armed Forces Minister, Mark Francois, who joins us now. Are you still holding your breath on this, or do you think Israel has listened to the likes of David Cameron and showed significant restraint here?
Well, details are still emerging, your correspondent has just said. So until we get more detail, it's difficult to know exactly what we're dealing with here. So Parliament doesn't usually sit on a Friday, except a number of days when we focus on private members' bills. And the House is sitting today. So as I'm a member of the House of Commons Defence Committee, I, for one, think it's important that because under parliamentary rules, the government can make a statement in the House at any time when the House is sitting, is that we interrupt business this morning. Important though it is, my friend Anna Firth has got a private member's bill to try and combat pet theft. I'm actually going in to support her this morning. But I think the government should interrupt business this morning and make a statement in the House of Commons to tell Parliament everything we do know about what has happened, and that will allow MPs to question a government minister on what has happened.
And of course, I assume the government priority is going to be de-escalation.
Yes, I think it's. I think that's something we would all like to see. Although I would just make the point that when, for instance, President Biden calls on the Israelis to de-escalate, if someone was trying to rain down missiles and drones on Washington or New York or Chicago, if they were on the receiving end of it, how keen would they be to de-escalate? So I think we have to look at the reality of the situation. It's now very apparent from intelligence reports that Iran was behind the Hamas attack. They put them up to it in order to try and prevent the Saudis signing something called the Abraham Accords, which was a sort of peace deal with Israel, if you like, to improve relations in the region. So we now know that Iran were the culprits in that. We know that Iran have been using their proxies, the Houthis, to fire missiles at shipping, including British shipping. We know that Iran finance Hamas. We know that Iran finance and train them and the Hezbollah. So that's the context that we are dealing with, and I think we need to be clear-eyed about it. And I think we also want to ask the government, why, oh why, have we still not prescribed the Iranian Revolutionary Guard Corps as a terrorist organisation? So there are a number of questions to be asked today in Parliament. So I think it's very, very important that the government offers a statement and shares whatever information they do have with the House of Commons and via the Commons with the nation.
What's your assessment of why we've not had any confirmation from Israel on this yet?
There may be some intelligence reasons for that. I don't want to speculate further. What we don't know is whether this is a single strike or whether it's the precursor to further strikes. I'm sure, as you mentioned, you've got the foreign ministers meeting today. I'm sure Israel will come under immense pressure to make some kind of announcement and to explain to the world what its intentions are, particularly whether or not there is likely to be further action. So we're all slightly in the dark at the moment, no pun intended, because it was an overnight strike. All the more reason, again, I think that ministers must come to the House of Commons this morning and tell us what they do know.
And if that does happen, I'm sure it will be raised in the House. With this escalating situation in the Middle East, will you be raising the topic of defence spending again, sitting at 2.3% of GDP? Should we be spending more?
Well, I and my colleagues on the committee have consistently, for years, argued that we should be spending at least 3% of our GDP on defence. That, if you like, has been the committee's policy, for want of a better word, going back to previous chairmen like Dr. Julian Lewis. His slogan was 3 to keep us free. So we have been, and remember, we're we're an all-party committee. We have MPs from 4 parties, so it's not a partisan point in any way. But look, we have Russia has invaded Ukraine. China is making increasingly sulphurous threats towards Taiwan. As I just said, we've got now this situation in the Middle East. Yes, of course, we should increase our defence spending. And one of the things we should spend the extra money on is a air defence system for the United Kingdom. We don't have anything comparable to the Israeli Iron Dome system. We have the technology to build it, but we don't have the money. And this is something the committee has taken evidence on in recent months. We were told that the MOD went to number 10, asked for the money for such a system and were turned down, which we regret. So, of course, we should increase our defence spending. The first duty of government, above all others, is the defence of the realm. And I say that not just as a former Armed Forces Minister or a former TA officer in the Cold War many years ago, but I say that as the son of a D-Day veteran.
Francois, good to see you this morning. Thank you very much for your time.